Alright, Gargoyle 41. And this is by Garth Ennis and Jason McCrea. According to the cover anyway, but that is wrong. That is a mistake. They put the wrong names on the cover. This is actually written and drawn by some bloke that did the storyboards for some DC cartoons. And Garth Ennis and Jason McCrea, they had now a day with it. This one is a fill-in issue, and 200 videos in, I think that it is finally time for me to explain what a fill-in issue is. Webster's dictionary defines a fill-in issue as... Now, cause it's not in Webster's dictionary. What a fill-in issue is, it is kind of a relief issue. It used to be very common in the industry when a writer or an artist on a book were running late. They would put out an issue like this to maintain the monthly schedule. There's a whole myriad of different types of fill-in issues, but the one connecting thing is that they are usually by a creative team who were not the regular team working on the book. It'll have a different writer, different artist, but there's all kinds of different type of fill-in issues. There's ones that were done to fill a specific gap in the publishing schedule. There's ones that were written well in advance and just sat in a drawer until it was needed. There's some ones that are just repurposed from other things, like sometimes a story written for an annual or another book entirely will be repurposed as an issue of a series. In this case, I'm not quite sure what the genesis of this story was. Garth Ennis, he started his run with issue 40, and this is issue 41, and he's already needing a fill-in issue. That is very suspect. Fill-in stories, I used to think they were a waste of time, and they really annoyed us, because the idea that a writer or an artist can't do a monthly book really irritates us. But I have come to appreciate aspects of fill-in stories. This one, for example, I think is quite good. I like when there's standalone stories, and, well, there's another caveat to that. I think this is actually an awful issue 41 of Gargoyle series. I think this would be a good one-shot or an annual. If you have never read a Gargoyle story, this one isn't a bad place to start. But if you have read the 40 issues of the series that preceded this one and an annual, it feels like a waste of your time. It feels really pointless. This tale is set in the Arden days, the days of the Crusades from Indiana Jones 3, and this bastard here with a bad haircut, he is the baddie. He is slaughtering all the Muslims. And now what you're thinking? A man in charge with bad hair slaughtering Muslims now has changed. It is a fill-in issue though, and what happens with fill-in issues is they are traditionally filler. I mean, it's practically part of the name, fill-in issues. This is a good story though. It's a nice little story that probably sat in a drawer, but it does have very little impact on the character. Nothing in this is ever referred to again, and issue 41 of a series is a bad time to have a random issue that's best purpose is introducing the title character. And the baddie murderer, let's call him Trump Sr., he has caught Isaac Christians. That is the Gargoyle's human form, Isaac Christians. He's from the Arden days, the days of Mr. Camelot, and he was cursed with the Gargoyle, so that is how he has lived forever. And Trump Senior, he knows all about the Gargoyle, so he has caught Isaac Christians to try and exploit the Gargoyle in the war. And look, he's even racist. He has got a black slave girl, and that is like a triple whammy. Black, girl, and slave. All three of them are controversial. It's also quite fitting that I am doing a fill-in issue after I did that Defenders issue, which actually spun out of a fill-in issue. I think fill-in issues didn't have to be filler. I think me bloomin' review of that Avengers fill-in issue, that was the name of it. Fill-in issues don't have to be filler. And I like this one, but ultimately it is filler. It's establishing a bit of backstory, I suppose. Or rather, it's telling a story independent of the current continuity that is quickly wrapped up and consequence-free. And that is actually a fantastic description of fill-in stories in general. They tell a story, sometimes independent of the book's current continuity, that is quickly wrapped up and has no consequences that affect the rest of the book. What I like about this one is it's actually a really good use of the Gargoyle character. I think he is actually characterised perfectly, and it's a good little story. Really, if you have not read one of the Gargoyle books, or you want to try something out with him in, this one is actually very good for sampling. I think this is the character used well. We've got the Gargoyle being brutal and violent, and dark, and creepy, and sinister. By the way, the competition is still active. If you can guess my favourite comic book starring this character, the Gargoyle, Isaac Christians, not the one from the Defenders, not the demon from Defenders, not him, not the cartoon Gargoyles either. This character, this one right here, created by Jack Quimby in the 70s. This character, if you can guess my favourite comic book series that has got this character as its lead star, I will buy that series for you. I am really only doing this as a contest because I am 100% confident no one will ever guess it right. And so Trump Senior makes a deal with the Gargoyle. He wants to win the war, and the Gargoyle agrees. And I really love how the Gargoyle is used here. It's perfect. And Trump Senior, after having summoned forth the Gargoyle and made a deal and seen how mental and depraved he is, he's like, Christ's mercy, what have I done? So, on the orders of the Gargoyle, Trump Senior marches his soldiers into battle. And the Gargoyle, he was really specific and firm, saying that he should march in and not relent no matter what. And it is going awful. They are all dying. Trump Senior has sent nearly all of his soldiers to death. And then we have got the Gargoyle, and he is just laughing about it. He was being sociopathic, brilliant. I really like the Gargoyle as a dark, malevolent kind of thing. Sometimes he's too goofy or too much of a force for good. He should be a bit sick and twisted, I think. To continue talking about fill-in issues, though, we didn't really have them much anymore. They were very popular in the 80s and 90s, but before that, in the 70s, they would usually have a reprint if they fell behind schedule. In the 80s and 90s, loads of fill-ins. I think because editorial then was stronger. They made sure to always have those sort of contingencies. Nowadays though, it is usually just the case that we have fill-in artists. Cause doing a monthly book is too much for superstars like Mike Diddy Dardo Jerk. So the third issue in his run on a book will just be drawn by someone else entirely. Usually someone who is a completely different style. Fill-in writers, they aren't that common. Fill-in artists, pretty much every book has a fill-in artist, or just an artist switch out within the first 6 issues. So here we have got Trump Sr. walking amongst all the carnage, all the dead bodies, all the mayhem, and here is his reward. Gold, lots of gold. And he ain't impressed. He wanted to win the war. He wanted to slaughter all the Muslims. We got an advert there for the Insiders, and I've actually got this issue, this exact one. This is the cover. I've never read it, but I've got it. You know, when you do a bulk buy of back issues, and they sometimes throw in a few bonus comics, like a few freebie extras, you know, that you didn't really want. Well, this is one that I got for free, a little freebie. Nice cover though, I like it. I like Geodude, he's a good character. Different than the other ones. And the twist of this is, Trump Sr., he uses some sorcery to transform Gargoyle back into Isaac Christians. And he just assumes that this is like not a threat. But because Isaac Christians isn't bound by the Gargoyle sociopathic pact, well, he just grabs a sword and he impales Trump Sr. And this whole thing of slaughtering all the people and leading Trump Sr. to his death by Isaac Christian's hand, it was all the Gargoyle's plan. He just wanted to mess things up, and look, he's having a laugh about it. So a nice little twist there, I like it. Then we've got 2 adverts at the back. This is Black Mask. This is before they become a militant publishing house, publicising propaganda and racism. And these are the 2 I wanted to focus on. 0 hours, Christmas in time. The countdown has begun. And this one, unlike Doomsday Cocks, this didn't take 3 fucking years to finish. And here we have got Robin there. And after Girl Robin from Black Knight Returns, this one is my favourite Robin. I like this series, the Robin series. Alone at last. It is cold, dark, dangerous, and there is not a Batman in sight. Well, that is a lie, because the first issue of this series, Batman is really prominently in it. I think this is a nice, accessible story, just in the wrong place. This would have been a good annual or a good story to be a one-shot somewhere, and other than its purpose being a bit confused, I didn't really have nothing negative to say about it. I rate this one 7 thumbs up.